Ochako is one of my favorite characters in My Hero Academia. She's very underestimated when it comes to fighting, she's smart, and she probably has one of the most powerful quirks in the whole series. So for today's video, we are not going to be doing an Ochako explained. Instead, we are going to speculate and try and find out just how poor Ochako and her family was at the beginning of the series before all of the students had moved into their dorm rooms at UA. Also, since we don't know Ochako's parents' living situation besides the fact that they don't live with her, we are only going to try and figure out how much a month they were paying for Ochako to live on her own, as well as going over Ochako's many different ways to try and save money. So, in the beginning of the series, we find out from Ochako that the main reason why she wanted to become a pro hero in the first place was for the money. At first, it doesn't sound as noble as Deku's or Ida's reasons for becoming a hero, and surely if Stain would have overheard this conversation, there would probably be one less student attending Class 1A right about now. But when she further explains herself, we find out that her family owns a construction company, but business hasn't been very good, and in Uraraka's words, they are poorer than poor. So she wants to become a pro hero so that she could make enough money to be able to give back to her parents for everything they've done for her and make their lives easier, which is honestly very sweet and pretty relatable, and this is why Ochako will always be best girl to me. I don't care. Alright, so with all this background out of the way, we are finally going to be getting into the fun part of the video where we speculate and try to find out just how much Ochako's struggling parents were paying for their daughter to live on her own. And we are specifically going to be looking at her apartment, phone, and her meal plan. So after the sports festival was over, we got to see a little bit of the inside of Ochako's apartment. Now, we actually barely get to see the inside of her apartment, but we get to see enough to know what we need to look for in our apartment search. So first we need to match her apartment to a similar apartment in Tokyo, Japan, in real life that is pretty cheap. Also, the reason why we are using Tokyo, Japan is because Musutafu, Japan, where My Hero takes place, doesn't exist and is just one of the many Star Wars references in My Hero Academia, and since Musutafu is supposedly located near Tokyo, then we have to look for an apartment in Tokyo. So what we are going to be looking for is an apartment that has one bathroom, a kitchen, and a balcony, since in the manga and anime those are really the only three things that we can spot when Ochako's parents come rushing out of the dark hallway scaring her. And so far, the apartments that look very similar to the inside of her apartment range around $500 to $800 a month. Since Ochako says that her parents are poorer than poor, I'm gonna say that she probably lives in an apartment that costs around 50,000 yen a month. And when you convert yen to the US dollar, we get an apartment that costs exactly $476 a month. We are just going to round that up to $500 a month. And we also don't have to worry too much about her apartment bill going too high up, because in the manga's omake titled Uraraka's Touchingly Economical Life, we find out that when it's really hot in her apartment, she just endures the heat. She's basically every father's dream daughter for not touching the thermostat, and we all know how dads are with the thermostat. She also would just sleep a lot because, as she says in the omake, being awake costs money. There is one more of these omake in which I will touch upon that later, but man, do I wish there were more of these. These are honestly pretty hilarious. In season 2 episode 9 of the anime, or chapter 37 of the manga, after her fight with Bakugo during the sports festival, we see that she has a flip phone, whereas most of the characters are shown to have smartphones. For this, I figured we should go with a cheap phone plan, and the cheapest phone plan that I could find for a flip phone is about $15 a month for unlimited text and unlimited minutes. This gives us a new total of her parents paying up to $515 a month just for Ochako alone. And just a quick reminder for you guys, we are not doing Ochako's parents because we don't know their living situation. So far they are paying a total of $515 just for Ochako alone. Now, with the apartment and phone out of the way, we can finally move on to her meal plan. For this, we just flat out get our answer from that third omake that I mentioned earlier. And the omake states that she just doesn't eat. Well, okay, so even though the omake is correct that Ochako sometimes doesn't eat, we do know that she does get some sort of allowance from her parents so that she can buy groceries. We know this because from the first School Briefs light novel, we get a short story of Ochako grocery shopping. And after the sports festival, we also see her coming home after doing some grocery shopping. So we do know that she does sometimes eat at home besides eating lunch at school. The real question is, how much does she have to spend on food for that month? Well, it's 10% of the $515 that goes into the bills will be added on for her meals. The reason why is because normally when budgeting, 10% of what you make should normally go into groceries. Seeing as Ochako's parents are the ones paying for everything and are probably just as good as Ochako when it comes to saving money. No, like literally in the Ultra Analysis data book, Ochako has an S rank in saving money. But her parents are very caring, so of course they will send whatever they can to their daughter, even if it's not much. Also, they probably don't have to worry too much about Ochako starving to death since Ochako eats lunch at school. So at least 5 days out of the week, she is eating something. So 10% of 515 is $51.50, meaning that we get the grand total of Ochako's parents paying at least $566.50 a month for Ochako to live on her own, with $515 going straight into bills and $51.50 going into groceries. Like I mentioned earlier, Ochako is basically a master at saving money, with her having an S rank in the saving money category in the Ultra Analysis data book. In the School Briefs light novel, we see that Ochako tends to try and get the most out of her dollar by getting groceries that are heavily discounted, usually by more than half of the original price. She also states that a single piece of mochi is enough to keep her full for the rest of the day when she doesn't feel like cooking. And she states, and I quote, "Cause for me, the difference between 1 and 2 even would be huge. We're talking about surviving a whole extra month for each pack," end quote. So basically with her saving money, some of the money left over from the $51.50 is going to help out a lot when next month rolls around. With that said, is Ochako and her family poorer than poor as stated by Ochako herself? Yes, Ochako was basically living off of the bare minimum. When Class 1A first moved into their dorms, we got to see all of their rooms, and what they had at home is what they put in their dorm rooms. So what we see in Ochako's room is most likely everything she had in her apartment, and there's really not much. The only valuable things she had were her TV, table, and a fan. Also keep in mind that the drawer, desk, chair, and bed is all provided by UA. But the bright side in all of this, with her and all of the students having moved into the dorms, it most likely gave Ochako's parents some more money to work with, since now they don't have to be paying rent for Ochako's apartment anymore. Honestly, Ochako's parents deserve some sort of award for being so supportive of Ochako's dreams and being able to pay even though they have been so poor for so long. Also, quick side note, I'm pretty sure her parents' construction company is going to be seeing a lot more work now, especially with all of these cities being completely destroyed recently in these past couple of arcs. The sheer craziness and destruction recently in these arcs have been crazy, and I've been loving it. Hopefully her parents do get some sort of work out of it though. Now that's all I have for today's video. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on Ochako and her parents. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. If you want to see more My Hero Academia content, then be sure to also subscribe to the channel with